everybody? How we all doing today? Live on Instagram right now. Brian Rader's Coffee Talk. Going to be having my friend Katrina Chiovon on this episode. Super excited for you all coming in as people start to funnel into my live. What's going on, everybody? And welcome Katrina as she's coming in. I will send her an invite to come on in on this episode of Rader's Coffee Talk. What up, everybody? All right. How we all doing? Your host, Brian Rader, and I have my good new buddy, Katrina, joining me today to talk about all things acting. So you guys are, what up?
Hi, everyone.
How's it going?
It's great. Thank you for having me.
I am so excited that you came to join us and tell us all about your acting career, what things are brewing, what you got going on, and what's next for you in this crazy industry.
Yes. Well, again, thank you for having me. I have my iced coffee, which is almost finished.
That's
but,
good. I have my coffee.
I had to make sure I had my coffee ready. So, but yeah, thank you so much for having me. I love watching your lives, and it was an honor to be on here.
Awesome.
So I see some of my friends hopping on. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. So, Katrina, tell me what stuff has been going on for 2024. What kind of stuff you've been working on, the most recent kind of hit list of things.
Yeah. So actually this year has been probably one of my busiest years. It's been nonstop, and for those that don't know me, I'm an actress, a filmmaker, I'm a writer, producer. So I'm not just an actor waiting for roles to come in and auditions. In between all my auditions, I'm either making my own films, writing, always working on something. So this year has been definitely one of my busiest years, and I'm so thankful for that. And so basically I wanted to say first is thank you to everyone who's on here right now that actually shared my trailer for Broken Pieces, which is a film that I recently posted the trailer on my page. And it means a lot to me that when Broken Pieces is about domestic violence awareness, suicide prevention, mental health awareness. I actually wrote that too based on my my real life experiences as a young adult, like an early teenager. I was about 15, 14. So in that trailer, I'm actually playing myself as a 15-year-old, but like I'm an adult, but like I'm the emotions that are in my mind and what I'm saying is actually the true story of when I was that age. So it's pretty deep. It's pretty deep. But I thought it was really important to share, and I've never really opened up. I'm very kind of private in a sense that I don't open up that much about things that I've gone through in my life. So it was really kind of emotional to make, but I wanted to do it. And I got such great feedback. Everybody was so sweet and supportive. They were sharing it. It got shared a lot. So I just wanted to thank everyone a lot for that because it means a lot to me. And it was I was nervous to even share it. I held back for a while. I didn't post it. Yeah. I was really quite nervous to share it also, even though people probably won't see me as like they see me now at this age, so they probably wouldn't understand the level of that. But I wanted to open up and say like, yeah, I wrote that as my 15-year-old self. So and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to situations that they've gone through in their life. So it meant a lot. It was really nice. So I posted the trailer. So thank you guys so much for all the love on that. It's really nice.
First and foremost, congrats on finishing something. I know it's like, anytime anyone does a project and they finish something, like that's a huge accomplishment. So congrats to you on that. But I think you have a really unique perspective on the acting side. And the reason why is because you're saying like, I'm not waiting for roles. I'm making those roles happen by putting my producer cap on.
Yeah.
So like, what advice do you have for other actors that maybe are in a similar boat and they then have to go do that work to be able to hustle as a producer, writer, director, or something outside of just the landscape of being an actress or an actor and trying to make that project come to fruition so they can act in it?
Absolutely. I'm a huge advocate for that. So I've been making my own films for some time now, and I highly recommend any actor who not only wants to get their feet wet in maybe writing, producing, directing, but also just creating roles for yourself that you would want to be casted in. I think that's like a major, I think that's how it started for me. I was getting a little typecasted there for a minute in my younger years ago, and basically I didn't want to get typecasted, and I wanted to kind of show my real talent and what I could really, I like to go beyond like the expectations, and I want to show my range and show the different, like the things that I wanted to do. So that's how it started. And I think for any actors out there, actresses that want, that are maybe not getting the roles that they want, they're not getting the auditions that they like, they're, I would highly recommend to start writing your own material. What would be your ideal role, right? What would be your ideal film? Like, how would you want people to perceive you as an actor and actress so that you're being casted for those roles? Obviously, your reel, which your agent has or whoever has, that is going to help you get the name out there and get you the auditions, is looking at your work. So think about that. You can make 30-second scenes on your own that will, if it's well done, good quality, of course, but you can actually, advertise yourself for the roles that you want.
For sure. Like social media, and I know you're talking about like snippets, whether they're 30-second, a minute. How do you think you have used social media to your advantage, or how can other actors or people in the industry use this platform? I mean, we're on Instagram Live right now, but how could somebody use that platform? What advice do you have for those people to use, all their social platforms with content in general?
Absolutely. I use my page for, it's again, it's, you have to self promote in this world now, especially now. There's so much competition. There's, everybody can make their own film if they wanted. You really need to start using that platform to advertise what you want. Like, if you want to be an actor, show your acting work. If you want to be an artist, show your paintings. Like, it doesn't matter what field it is, but people are initially going to your page to look to see, what are you doing, what are you working on, what's your latest thing that you're doing. And that's a massive tool to use, and we should take advantage of that 100%.
Yeah, totally. And by the way, guys, I'm not the only one that should be asking Katrina or me questions on Raiders Coffee Talk. The platform and this live is so that you guys can engage with us and ask us questions about either one, the business, what we do, how we do it. That's the purpose of my lives, is so that we give away information. It's the reason why I created Raiders Coffee Talk in its inception many moons ago. And obviously, if you guys haven't checked out community.raiderscoffeetalk.com, feel free to do so. And because Katrina's here, I'm going to give all her viewers 40% off with a 40% off coupon code. And you can type in 40, the capital letters OFF, and get 40% off the community. So feel free to go check that out. We've got tons of resources like budgets and cheat sheets and different resources, from roadmaps of development, all these different assets that we have. And then we also bring in heavy hitter development executives, producers, writers, directors, actors every 2 weeks to go live with them to ask them our own questions. We had a former A&E head of development and production as our last guest, and we're going to have many more people on next week's live. We're gonna, on our Zoom, we're gonna have my good buddy Alexandra come on and talk about, she's been a bigwig attorney in Hollywood, so she's gonna be talking about all attorneys type stuff, deal making, how to structure it, how to get your money if you're owed money, all different kinds of things with her business. So by all means, you guys can join us for that. Just shoot myself a DM with the word Zoom, and we'll invite you for free. You guys can come as Katrina's guests. So feel free to do that. But if you guys have questions for us, someone just checked in. What's your next project? So somebody just said, Bill wants to know what your next project is.
Yeah, so back to this busy year that I had. Broken Pieces was one that I did, but I was casted in a feature that I'm starring in. It's City on the Edge. It's a cop drama, and I play an FBI agent. So that has been really exciting. It's been a lot. We've been working on it. It's pretty much wrapped up. We have some other actors like Vito Picone, who is in Goodfellas and Sopranos, and we have a couple scenes together. So it was like a lot of fun. We were working on that. And then there's another one. So I'm a good guy in that one. And then I was in another one called Last Vendetta where I'm actually playing a bad guy. So I got the reverse on it. And actually there's a fight scene in the Last Vendetta where we trained a lot. We had stunt choreography, everything. But I do a fight scene with a female FBI, which is kind of funny because it's complete opposite. So
Totally.
it was a lot of fun to work on that. Those are both coming out this year. And then I just made a film called Lucid. So that's really exciting. So we shot that in Coney Island about 2.5 weeks ago or so. And we really worked really hard to basically sat in a dark room for 3-4 days editing it like nonstop to get it into to submit it for a specific film festival that I wanted to get it into. So it was a lot of work, but it's going to be worth it. And I'm really excited about that one. And that kind of loops back to like working with people on projects, indies, using your social media platform to find other creatives who are maybe looking to do the same thing, right? So finding a cinematographer that maybe has the same vision that you do. You can look at their work on their page. You could say, oh, I love what they do, like their work style. And that's what I do a lot of times is I will see people's work and I'm like, wow, I love it. I would love to work with this person. And I'll reach out to them and say hi. And you never know where it can lead to. But I think that's definitely, find what you like is most important. Know who you are and what you like, and then focus on finding your tribe that is going to be around that same mental space and want to create. And I think we did that with Lucid. I have an amazing team of people working with me on that. We did a great job. It's not easy to shoot in a public place. Let everyone know it's actually very hard and it makes a lot of issues with sound. But I've always been fascinated with Coney Island. I think it's such a magical, like, fantasy but thriller. Like, there's so much good lighting there. And so, yeah, we made it happen. It was exciting.
So Katrina, what's your, like, someone just asked this, and also this is something that I've been thinking is like, what's your ultimate role? What's the role that you would be most excited to play if it came up right now?
So my whole thing is I'm like, if I like very action, adventure, thriller type of films. I'm very into like kind of like the badass, but in the good way. Like this is also, it's hard to answer because over the years, I'm starting to feel like I like to do different things because it pushes me outside of my comfort zone and it pushes me to become a better actor. And I used to just want to do like action adventure, just very like, but then I started like making these films, comedy or thriller, psychological thriller. I love those. I love mind bending things, ones that make you think out the box. So it's hard to kind of place that, but like, yeah, Tomb Raider, James Bond, the female James Bond would be my ultimate like role.
I love that. That's awesome. And I think knowing, because I do find actresses, people that are in the creative, they very get typecasted. And I do know that like in that action martial arts space is where you've kind of played. And it seems like that really suits you. So the fact that you love to play those kinds of roles, I think is amazing to, tap into. When you like the thing that you're casted for, I know people like back in the day and they're like, I just always play the villain, or I always play the boy next door, or I always play, and like they want to play those other roles, but they get typecasted. So the fact that I think you love those roles and kind of seek them out to begin with is awesome. You mentioned something before that I think is really also true to me, which is utilizing your relationships with the people that you have on set after you've found that DP, that director, that person that you want to work with again, and you're working with them on set. Have there been people that you have worked with and had an amazing experience and then kind of use that relationship to build something for the future? Like, hey, we're going to go work on this next project together. Or I have this idea. I really want to tap in and use that with you, to be able to go do that next project.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. If you have a good experience with someone, definitely keep working with them. And it throughout the years, people that I have worked with, and then seeing how their work is developing and growing, and vice versa, it's such a
Mm.
beautiful thing. Um, and yeah, absolutely. Like my team for Lucid, we're gonna work on another film together soon, and that film poster is actually up in an exhibit right now. It's in an art exhibit, which I think is really fun and cool. So, yeah, I've actually, so the adventure thing. So I'm actually filmed. So this is another tip that I do is when I travel. What I do is I find I do a lot of legwork. Like I'll dig and I'll try to find, like, if I went to Tulum, so I was like, ooh, I want to shoot something there, but I don't really can't like fly everybody with me and etc. Right, to do that. So I ended up like searching around, digging around, and like I found like one of the best like drone operators and everything. He had all this equipment in Tulum, and we actually set up an entire shot like shoot when I was down there. Um, and the location is crazy because he had a friend that owned a private property, and in that property had a private cave, like a real cave underground. And we shot like this whole scene for my film that's very adventurous.
Awesome.
And yeah, we shot that. So you just never know. But I think also it's cool to like get those shots when you're just happen to be going somewhere, and really push yourself outside your range. Like, let me contact people I don't know. Let's try to make that relationship happen. I did it in Cartagena. I shot a film, pieces of film in Cartagena, and I'm still friends with those people. Like, if I want to go back, I'm like, hey, I'm in town. Like, let's, I need this to reshoot this one scene. But, it's like, I'm building these relationships all over the world. And I think that's like so
Yeah.
amazing.
I do think finding people in unique locations, especially while you're there, and location scouting is huge. I do that for every trip. I was in
Yeah.
Japan and I did some location scouting. I was in London. I did some. Whenever I'm around the globe, I always find it to try to meet as many people as you can. So many people are obviously sending you so much love right now on this
Oh no,
Instagram
I'm
live,
trying
which
to
is
look at
amazing.
it. I'm like, thank you guys. Thank you so much.
But somebody asked a question, and I was going to ask this earlier, but it's a perfect time to ask it now. Like, how do you stay motivated? I know there are these lulls in the industry, and like, how do you stay motivated to continue and march on and make these projects? And it's not easy.
But I mean, motivation, there's one thing from motivation, and then there's dedication and devotion, and that's a whole different planet.
Mm,
I used to be motivated. Now I'm like dedicated. I'm
mm,
devoted. Like, that's why this year has been my busiest, because I'm now like, okay, I gotta stop. Like, like there's no time to waste. I need to like, and I think that that's mindset. So yeah, of course. Like, did I want to sit in my room for 4 or 5 days straight in the dark, like editing? No. But finally, when the weather is nice in New York, I'm like, no, I don't want to be inside. But I did it, and then we got to submit it. We made the deadline. So you have to make a choice. What's more important to you?
mm.
And how bad do you want it? And that's really going to be the ultimate motivation.
Yeah. How do you think time management comes into play within the business? Because honestly, I think one of the things that came when you just said that was like, how do you decipher what things to work on, when to work on them, and also your personal life. I mean, that's got to be, I find that very tricky within our industry.
Absolutely. Time management is probably one of the most difficult things that I actually have also that I
Mm,
deal with is for sure. That's probably one of the hardest things. Especially like when my agent will call me like, you got an audition and it's due in like 2 hours. And I'm like, what? Like, I'll be like out jogging or something. Like, I have to like run home, fix myself, like study line. Like, it's like that. And then for that moment in time, like, you have to stop your life and
mm.
like do your audition and get it in, or you're not going to get it in on time, and then you're not even, you're going to disappoint your agent, or you're going to, so you have to, even if it's not a role you want. Like, I get so many things, I'm just like, I don't want. I'm sorry, but I'm very picky now, and I'm just like, I don't know, but I still do, and I do the best I can. I want to make her happy, and I want to keep getting them, and it takes that to get the audition of your dreams or your life. So you have to, but it ultimately literally means like stopping your life and doing those things. So that's a huge thing with time management. And those things come like you couldn't even plan that. And it's like, oh, gotta stop my day. So this does happen a lot, unfortunately, but that is also the business of auditioning.
Well, you mentioned something, and I talk about this often with other actors, like those auditions that come in, and you're like, I wouldn't really want to play that role, or the money isn't great, or the opportunity isn't great, and they come in through your agent, manager, or you find it, or someone sends it to you, and you still do it, right? Ultimately, you still do the work, and you still.
Yeah.
What do you? What's the why behind that? Like,
I would
why do
say
you?
I would tell anybody watching this to absolutely do them and do them as if it's your dream role. Like do it as if that's the role you want and give it 200% like you should always with everything you do, because you never know. Like that casting director or writer or producer or director, whoever's behind that project, might see you like this most amazing self tape you ever did in your life, and like maybe you're not even right for that role, but they're gonna say, oh wow, you might be perfect, and then you might even get a better role. They might like ask you to do call you back like self tape for the lead now instead. So you just never know. And I used to be like kind of a stickler for that. Like I used to like, oh man, I don't feel like doing that, right? But that again I had to retrain my brain to now it's not about motivation or what I feel like. It's more like I have to do this. I don't have a choice. I need to do it the best I can, get it in early, not on time, like get it in early, and make my agent happy and just keep doing the work. That's it.
Yeah.
You got to do the work.
Okay, we got a question from Sadie. Sadie asks, how has acting helped you grow professionally and personally?
Yeah, that's a good one. So I think I've noticed that I'm going to give a shout out to my acting coach, acting class, David Epstein. He's amazing, amazing coach and has an amazing class that I was taking, amazing classes. And he also now helps me coaching if I have a self tape or if have a little, like if there's a piece at the film, like the feature that I wanted to work on, like I work with him on a lot of different things. And I would have to say that that's a good part of that, because his notes, his notes that he gives me do reflect how I guess, carry my, it's hard to explain, but I also think too, in yourself, you're in your head a lot more. But the notes that he gives me and the feedback on that actually is something that I've been working on in my personal way of, I guess, not communication, but the sound, the tone, the this, the that. There's levels to it, but I think that is definitely something that does help. And also, I mean, it makes you outgoing. I've always been a little bit outgoing, so that's not really. It's more about the tone and the sound and how it may perceive. I don't know. It's like it's definitely working with a coach and taking class. I highly recommend. I think also acting too is doing it. So I'm a fan of everything. I'm a fan of taking a class. I'm a fan of working on Shakespeare. Taking working privately with your acting teacher and things like that. But then I also believe in doing the work and just doing it and making these scenes on your own, making the films on your own. You're gonna learn. Like trust me, like the first film I ever made was it was like all these mistakes, and you learn from that. So everything is a learning experience, and it definitely will shape you as a whole 100%. Yeah.
I would love to take more questions from all you amazing people that are out there, because you guys are coming up with some great questions. Also, if you guys are not following my Instagram, and for my followers, if you guys are not following Katrina, please go do that. So this way you guys could follow both of us on our own personal journeys and within the industry as we continue to post up content and share with you guys what we're both doing within the industry. Also, if you guys have not checked out community.raiderscoffeetalk.com, Katrina is also a member and comes pretty regularly to most of our Zoom calls with executives. And as we continue to grow and learn with all the resources and things that the community has, we also have a private Facebook group where we post up job listings, new information, and tons of other things. And there's so many people that are on now supporting Katrina on this live, which I love. Somebody just asked, what has been your favorite role so far in your career and why? Tough one, right?
Favorite role. It was really fun playing Betty in The Glitch. That was a 1950s sci-fi retro comedy.
Hmm.
Um, and my hair was really blonde at the time, and I like one of my favorite things as a filmmaker and like a writer and a visionary creator is I love to mix the past with the future.
Mm.
It's one of my, you might notice that in some of my, posts on Instagram, things like that. But a lot of my films, like Margaret, she's a time traveler journalist from 1943, goes to the future. The Glitch is like in the 50s. Like I guess not my goal, but I would like to do one like in every, decade. And I just love, yeah, history, but also really fascinated with the future. I like the thrillers and the sci-fi. So kind of like mixing them together.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that when you play in the proverbial acting sandbox, it allows you to tap into all these different I mean, being some like a pinup girl in the 1950s or something is a really cool dress up role, I'm sure. Like the
Yeah.
fact that you get to play a character that is so from such a long time ago before you were even born, I think, it is really cool. And probably the opposite, when you play a crazy sci-fi role and you're playing something in the distant future for whatever that may be, that's got to be pretty fun to put on all that garb and clothing and get your hair done different and wardrobe and stuff like that. Can you speak to that? Like, do you like playing that dress up kind of stuff? And what's that like working with makeup
Absolutely.
artists and
I'm
hairstylists and putting on different wardrobe and stuff like that?
I love it. If any chance I can get, I will love to do those characters. I love playing characters. I also do like a lot of voiceovers for the Star Trek Nitpickers, and I did a lot of like different voiceovers and characters. I love getting really into like Labyrinth was my favorite film, The Never Ending Story. Like I love like all these character type of films, and I love it. Yeah, almost all the films I'm making I'm really into like Lucid. I'm dressed like I don't know 40s between the 40s and the 60s. It's kind of a combination, but it's actually my dad's mother's some of her clothing pieces that
Oh
I
wow!
kept when they passed away. And also also Margaret and the Glitch. So actually all the wardrobe in all three of those films are my original
Oh
wardrobe
wow!
that I like a little costume shop in my closet. But I really like to dress up, but in an authentic way. So I would prefer to wear vintage pieces or things like that rather than just like a rent a costume that's like totally. I want it to be I'm very big on like being authentic. So even like when it comes to locations, wardrobe, everything is like either my personal pieces or locations that are a real. Obviously when you get to bigger sets it's going to be harder to do some of those things, and they have big sets for that. But I love finding these like authentic locations. And yeah, I love like makeup, hair, all that stuff. I absolutely love it. When I was a kid, and it's funny because I didn't remember I did this, but my mom kind of like told me like, "Hey, do you remember when I was a kid? My mom would be in the kitchen, and I would come out of my room down the hallway into the kitchen, and I used to like have this outfit on, like a crazy outfit, whatever. And then I'll be like, looking around, asking like, is Katrina here? And then I would go back to my room and like change my outfit." Come back to the kitchen, like, was someone looking for me? And like, I used to do this, and I don't remember doing that. Like, honestly, I was probably really young, but my mom was like, "You've been doing this since you were like a little kid."
Yeah.
It's funny.
This is my last question before we kind of wrap up all of
Yeah.
this. But what's next? What can everybody look for you in the next things that you're working on and next pieces of things that you're basically doing?
Yeah. So I am gonna be filming now the the adventure film that I was telling you about that I shot some of the pieces in Tulum. I'm going to shoot the rest of it here in New York. And then I'm going to be working on a sci-fi-ish. I have 7 treatments that I wrote.
Wow.
So I'm going to be very, very busy. So I'm very excited for all that. But in between, I'm also like auditioning. So at any time, I could just get something and then
Sure.
everything changes. So you just never know.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for coming on Raiders Coffee Talk. Thank you to everybody else that's out there. Again, if you guys are not all following Katrina, go follow her. If you're part of my Instagram, and vice versa. If you guys are not following me, by all means, come to one of our Raiders Coffee Talk Zooms. The next one is next week, where I'm having an attorney come on and tell us all about being an entertainment attorney and what's involved in the process. We have others, writers, directors, producers, and actors. I want to give all Katrina's followers out there 40% off the community. So if you guys go to community.raiderscoffeetalk.com, just put in the coupon code 40 off. That's the number 40 in the capital letters OFF, and you'll get 40% off the community. Also, I'm going to post this up. So if you guys are just chiming in right now, I'm going to be able to post this up, and Katrina could share it as well. This way we can have everybody watch what we've just shot. We'll also be editing this down into some pieces and probably put them on social media, so you guys can check that out as well. Thank you guys so much. As I always do, I play my little jingle on the way out.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much, Katrina. Bye, everybody. Have a great day. I'll see you guys on the next Raiders Coffee Talk. Thanks, Katrina. Appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye.